the never of leaving us is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. The music you just heard is your invitation to settle in and prepare for our worship service. Please put your phones and devices on airplane mode for the duration of the service. This keeps them quiet and helps us provide a higher quality stream for our siblings attending virtually. Please know, whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, whether you're here in the sanctuary or watching from home. Whether you are with us for the first time or for the 1,000th, we are glad that you're here. My name is Mel Moss. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them, and I am honored to serve as your lay leader this morning. I am also honored to serve as the music coordinator and choir director for this wonderful congregation. San Gabriel is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are a movement working for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. Sustaining each other here in community is one part of that work.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Eric Hepburn. My pronouns are he, him, and I am proud to be your pulpiteer. Tomorrow's a special day for a couple reasons. We'll get into it in the sermon part, but I'll give you a brief preview. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my first time in this pulpit as your pulpiteer. So over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be inviting some reflection on where we've been and where we're going. And also tomorrow is the International Day of Trans Visibility. So we'll be celebrating that as well during the service. Please join me in reciting the words to light our chalice. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. Let us greet this day in song. Our opening hymn is "This Is My Song," number 159 in the gray hymnal. The lyrics will be projected. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able.
This
All right, folks, it's time for our Wonder Box. I invite up to the pulpit our Director of Religious Education, Candace White.
Hi, do our youth want to come up in the front and see what's in our Wonder Box? This month we have been exploring the theme of practicing trust. So far we have explored trusting ourselves and others, and we're going to look inside our Wonder Box and see how we're going to explore that theme today. One moment.
I can't have them sleep.
No crackle.
It's okay. What do you think this was? A bridge! That's right, it's a bridge. I wonder what a bridge has to do with our theme this month. Trust is a fragile thing, and sometimes it can be broken. Let's imagine that trust is like this bridge that connects two people. Sometimes when the trust is broken, the bridge cracks or even breaks apart. Rebuilding the bridge takes time and care. It can be hard and cause lots of different feelings, but it is always worth it in the end. In trusting each other. Absolutely. Today we're going to explore what it looks like to fix broken trust. And I would like to share a story with you called The Broken Pot.
Once upon a time, long, long ago, in a Japanese village, there was an old pot that had been passed down through generations. One day, a child from the family who owned the pot was playing with it when they weren't supposed to, and dropped it. The pot hit the floor and it cracked, losing its ability to hold water. The child picked up the pieces and tried to hide them, for they knew they were not supposed to be playing with it in the first place. For days, the family searched for the pot, and eventually the child brought out the pieces and explained what had happened. Their family was furious. "How can we ever trust you again?" they asked the child, and they brought the pieces outside to throw away. A village elder happened to be watching and asked that they give the pot to him instead, for he was sure he could fix it. The family handed over the pieces, but doubted that the pot could ever be restored to its former state. What the family didn't know was that the elder had been trained in the traditional Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with lacquer mixed with gold. The elder worked patiently, ensuring that each crack was carefully mended. After several days of painstaking effort, the pot was restored to its original shape. Though the cracks were still visible, the pot was now stronger than ever before. The elder returned the pot and explained to the family, "I know you are mad, but remember, trust is like this pot. Yes, it can crack and sometimes be broken, but we have the power within us to fix those cracks. And if done well, the pot can end up being even stronger and more beautiful than before." And then the wise elder mysteriously handed the child his special brush and the parents his jar of paint.
Okay, we're going to hold on to that lesson and go over to the little house for our youth.
We're gonna do one song first,
Oh, yay!
and then we're gonna sing you out to the little house. Does that work for you? All right. Oh. All right. If you need to wait in the hallway, Oscar, you can do that. You have my permission.
It's my pleasure today to introduce a song for our anthem. This is a song that I created specifically for our congregation here at SGUF. I hope you enjoy the song "We Give Them Wings." It was developed under my pseudonym and alias of ATX Wolfie.
In the shadows, silent cries, voices lost beneath the skies. We cannot save, but stand beside. For each soul's strength must be revived. Empower the silent, lift up the broken. Words of hope and truth be spoken with every step and every breath. We give them wings to rise from death. Marginalized hearts in need, not charity, but chance to lead. Dignity in hands that strive to build a world where all can thrive. Empower the silent, lift up the broken. Words of hope and truth be spoken with every step and every breath. We give them wings to rise from death. Build a bridge of trust is fair. Cross the chasm with love and care. Together strong, together free. We walk the path of unity. Empower the silent, lift up the broken. Words of hope and truth be spoken with every step and every breath. We give them wings to rise from death.
Thank you, Mel, for sharing that with us. All right, we're going to skip singing the kids out. They already stampeded, so it seems an unnecessary duplication at this point. All right, it is time for joys and sorrows. Sometimes we're carrying something on our heart that can prevent us from being fully present. Here in this community, our sharing of these things with each other is medicine. is part of our healing together. And like all good medicine, it must be concentrated and potent, so we invite you to aim at 2 or 3 strong sentences. So if you're carrying a joy or a sorrow or both on your heart this morning, I invite you to raise your hand for the microphone. Thank you for sharing. And for all that remains unspoken, the love of this community is with you. I'd now like to invite up for this week's stewardship testimonial, Andrea McDaniel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Andrea McDaniel, and when Eric asked me to do a testimonial, I was a little nervous because I didn't really know what was expected from such a thing. Is it like a speech? Do I need to practice? It's certainly not a sermon, but thankfully I had several excellent examples of what a testimonial should be. But I figured if not only for the practice of public speaking, which is in my somewhat near future, I could get up here and tell you why I came, and more importantly, why I stayed and where I am now. So, the story of why I came is pretty long, but I will make it short. When I was still in training for the Army, my dad passed away. And thankfully, the Army did allow me to go and see him before he passed. But the way the Army handled the situation overall and the subpar pastoral care that I received from chaplains for over 6 months was unacceptable. So when I did at last receive excellent pastoral care, I felt that I was being called to do the very same thing for other soldiers. I wanted to make sure that in the future, I could help soldiers weather the storm of life, because it's pretty stormy out there right now. But how? How do I go about this? I'm enlisted, so how am I supposed to become a chaplain? So that was the beginning of my journey. Could I just go with any old faith tradition, get my paperwork, be on my way? Absolutely. Would that give me the ick because I wasn't really staying true to my beliefs and my principles? Also, absolutely. So I asked my chaplain how I could also become a chaplain. And he helped me search through the plethora of approved endorsing agents for the Army, or the DoD in general. And he helped me find several that already have actively serving female chaplains. So as I was looking through those, one of them was the Unitarian Universalist Association. What a mouthful. I was like, oh goodness. But when I went to the website to research what the UUA was all about, I was sold instantly. I thought, wow, what an excellent organization. But let's see if they put their money where their mouths are. So I came. I drove all the way from Killeen to see what this church was all about. Do they embody what I read online? Are they truly welcoming to all kinds of people? Do they care about their community? We shall see. So when I arrived, I was a little nervous, but our lovely greeters did an excellent job of making sure I was comfortable. And I actually lost my spot. Okay, found it. Though the church was small, it was so active in the community, and it had so many groups and outreaches, and it blew my mind what they were capable of. All the announcements at the end of church for everything they were doing just amazed me. They have social justice, racial justice, a food pantry that's regularly stocked, just to name a few. I have a bad memory, so I couldn't precisely remember what the sermon was that day, but I remember that it made me feel warm. You know the expression, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel? That. So it gave me hope that I may have found a space where I could be myself. And even more so, I felt that I could associate myself with this group of people, and not only that, be proud of associating myself with them. They have a deep, meaningful conversations in their sermons that most other faith traditions are scared to even touch. I think we know which ones we're talking about. With all that in mind, though, I think that I could safely say this group of people absolutely puts their money where their mouths are. So currently, where I am now, I am still active duty, and it has been quite an adventure trying to get into the chaplain candidate program. And by adventure, I of course mean absolute nightmare. I won't go into those details because that could be as long as one of Eric's lovely sermons, minus the thoughtful content. I have been accepted into the Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary, and I need all of your hopes, prayers, thoughts, vibes, and anything else positive put into the universe that I will be able to attend this upcoming fall. In the meantime, I am so very grateful to be a part of this amazing group of human beings and to have you as my sponsor congregation, because I truly feel that you all embody what being a UU really means and that I can learn so much from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm going to start out with 2 quotes this morning. For those of you keeping track, this is the Sunday where we're doing chapter 7 of our congregational read, What It Takes to Heal by Prentice Hemphill. That chapter is called Things Fall Apart. Also the name of one of my favorite Roots songs. I'm going to start with a quote from Adrienne Marie Brown's book, Emergent Strategy. The quote is actually the activist and author Grace Lee Boggs. And this is what she says. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. Let me read that again because I think, at least for me, I had to read it 9 times before it sinks in, but I won't make you listen to me say it 9 times, but we'll do it 2. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. Now we're going to draw a little Venn diagram in our minds this morning, and we're going to introduce a second quote, and then we're going to talk about the intersection. The second quote comes from this chapter in our congregational read, and the author of the quote is Malidoma Patrice Sommet. And she said, "Conflict is the nature of a relationship asking to deepen." Conflict is the nature of a relationship asking to deepen. So let's tie this back into tomorrow's our anniversary. I am glad to say that I can sense in the last month or so that we're moving out of our honeymoon phase. Let's talk about what that means and what it looks like a little bit. All the things that were sort of sidelined or swept under the rug in your joy at having someone full-time back in the pulpit, at your willingness to defer to me on all issues, those things are beginning to bubble up. That's what the end of a honeymoon looks like. I've been thinking of the quote from a show from my youth called MTV's The Real World. When people stop being polite and start to get real. Now, here's my observation about this. This might sound like a curse, but it is a blessing. And I want you to understand why through these 2 quotes that I brought up this morning. I want you to understand why it's a blessing. It's a blessing because the absence of conflict would indicate an absence of desire for our relationship to deepen. The absence of conflict would indicate a lack of desire for our relationship to deepen, for us to dive deeper into the healing work we are called to do together. That would be a bad sign. So, we need to be in a space safe enough to surface our differences and to work through them. That's what we need. It's what we need inside this room. It's what we need in our families. It's what we need in our politics. A space safe enough to actually say what it is that we need. what it is that we want from this life, what it is that we think our siblings and brothers and sisters and neighbors, our elders and our youth need. To stand up for them and to stand up for ourselves and say, this is what's necessary now. This is what, as human beings, each of us deserve. Here is my part in it, and I will stand and share my part. But the act of sharing what we need is always a vulnerability. We believe that by hiding our needs underneath our armor, we can keep them safe. Yes, you will. You will keep them safe from ever getting met. Wow, that joke landed a lot softer than I thought it would. I'm going to say it again. If you keep your needs under your armor, what you are saving them from is ever getting met. Yeah, more articulate, forceful. Okay. Note to self on comedy, make punchline punchier. Building community is to the collective as spiritual practice is to the individual. So the individual side of it we just hinted at, a willingness to be earnest and honest and open about one's own needs. In each of our relationships, our one-to-one relationships, our one-to-many relationships. This is what I need. And it is an act of disarmoring to lay down your armor and say that out loud to someone. It puts your sense of safety at risk to that person's willingness to see you and hear you and honor what you're telling them. But those three things that I just listed are also the foundation of deeper relationship. They must be put at risk if we are to become more to each other than neighbors who only wave as we're pulling into our driveways. After we open the garage door and we wave, and we go inside the house and we close the garage door, and we don't see that person again until the next day when we repeat the street drive-by ritual. That's my neighbor Joe. We met one time on the sidewalk, but mostly we wave at each other every day from the car. I want to invite us to a deeper version of neighboring with one another. Maybe something reminiscent of the old thing about going next door to borrow eggs and flour. Why would we do that? HEB is just 3 blocks away. So much less awkward to just pay for what I need from the HEB. True. All true. I wonder often exactly what kind of culprit in our modern ecology convenience is. We sure do focus a lot of time and energy on seeking it and wanting it. I don't think it's the unalloyed good we think it is. All right, so I'm going to talk about 3 areas where I can see our relationship asking to deepen. One is, it is pledge season. Can I get an amen? Amen. It's pledge season, folks, so we are trying to put together a pledge campaign so that we can bring on a halftime DRE, so that we can keep growing this church in this community. If you have not pledged yet, and you are ready to do so, I would love for you to fill out a card before you leave today and put it in the box in the back. Now, if you fill out a card and you get a call from me or someone like me next week asking about your pledge because we think you haven't put one in, but you did, please be kind to us. We're operating with the best data we have, but there are multiple actors, and this is not one of our best, well-oiled, fine-tuned machines area of operation. It's not. So we may call you, even if you already put in your pledge, just say, oh, I did that already, and then we'll schedule lunch anyway. The second one that I want to bring up, an area where our relationship is asking to deepen, is around our kitchen and coffee hour and food. So at the end of this next month, on May 4th, may the 4th be with you. Anybody like that mixed metaphor? Yeah, right? Anybody's like Star Trek, Star Wars thing just go off in their head like the red siren? Okay, that was on purpose. I'm just doing a geek check of the crowd. So on May the 4th, we are going to have a community potluck. So if you like community potlucks, please mark your calendar to stay after church. So we're going to stay after church and we're going to eat together. And we're going to enjoy the sustenance of having food together, enjoy together. And then after that potluck, we're going to do a healing circle to talk about the challenges and the conflict that's coming up around how do we want to, as a community, do the welcoming of post-church coffee hour every week. How do we want to do that? What issues are we all bringing into the room from our own families around these issues? Because, folks, this is one of those things that we could try and come up with some kind of bureaucratic solution to this that would work okay. But that's not what we're here for. Look, if you want to join Kiwanis Club, go join Kiwanis Club. And you can find practical solutions to how we gather problems and do that. We are here for deep healing work. And when conflict arises, it's an opportunity to ask deeper questions and go deeper into the answers, because we don't just deserve systems that work. We deserve systems that work and that promote our healing and wellness. We deserve right relationships with one another as a community as an outcome of working through these things when they come up. And that's what we're going to try and do together on May 4th. Another one that's coming up is we're doing the annual Poppy Parade at the end of April. And this has brought up some issues about how central or not central Unitarian Universalism is to our identity as a church and a community. So some of us like versions of the logo that just say UU, and some of us like versions of the logo that say Unitarian Universalist. And nobody's wrong and nobody's right, and we all have things to learn from each other, and we all have different ways of approaching this. But if that is something that you have strong feelings about, I'm going to call an audible. Pam's looking at me right now, so I know we're on the same page. Pam will have a piece of paper ready at the end. If the UU identity thing is something you want to be in conversation about, it's something you care about, I would like you to go sign up on the piece of paper that Pam's going to have at the end of the service, and we'll get a group together, and we'll sit down and talk about this as a community. Does that sound good? All right. Okay, we're transitioning away from this anniversary thing, because I said there was a second reason why today is special. International Transgender Day of Visibility. Now, I've got an idea here, and we're going to approach this in two discrete ways. One, if you love this and think it was the best thing ever, the credit goes to Sarah Smith. If you think it was a terrible idea and hope we never do it again, you can blame me. I don't know if you know this, that's actually written in some really good leadership books. Right? Leaders take responsibility when things go wrong, and they give credit when things go right. So, Sarah came up to me a couple months ago and she said, we need a humorous service. I'm only giving you half of one today. We're going to have a half humorous service. Humorlessness kills justice movements. I think we've been talking about this for at least since October, definitely since November. I'm not trying to convince you that it's not scary out there. I'm not trying to convince you that there aren't real harms happening. We only have control over how we show up to those moments. And if we show up to those moments taking ourselves and what's happening so seriously that we lose touch with our joy, we will also lose touch with our ability to truly experience the grief that is required by these moments of harm. And that is not healing. That's just more repression of the kind that we need to heal together. Some of you have heard me say this before. I'll know that we're really on the right road as a congregation when we can laugh and cry together. Both. Preferably close together. The ability to transnavigate the circle of human experience together, without fear of judgment, without echoes of shame from the people in our past who told us that we didn't really have permission to be fully feeling and expressing human beings, that there was something wrong with that. They can't take our joy. And what makes a great funeral is that moment when someone cracks a joke. I love serendipity. I'll tell you a little story. So I preach kintsugi when I do memorial services. So the art that was in our story from this morning, the art of gold lacquering broken things, is called kintsugi. You see, the broken thing isn't what it was before. And trying to make it look like it looked before is a fool's errand. We have to learn to celebrate the cracks in our own broken hearts, because that's what wisdom looks like. It's not pretending you don't have scar tissue. It's not getting plastic surgery so no one else can see the scars. It's getting a tattoo on top of the scar that says, hell yeah. A tattoo on top of the scar. No, it's right here. This is where life broke me. And I can laugh and I can cry because it's mine. When I saw this video, I knew I had to share it with you all. Just so that you could see at least one other crazy person besides me say that we're winning the long game. The terms of the debate are unimaginable 40 or 50 years ago. Once again, I'm not minimizing the risk, the harm, any of it, but I am saying this. This is sandbags trying to hold back the tide. The arc of the moral universe bends toward justice. It's not just one of King's favorite quotes. I've spent a lot of time meditating on it, really asking yeah, but is it true? Does it describe some deeper thing about reality that we need to see? And I believe that it does. I believe that the moral arc of the universe does bend toward justice. And whether you call it the God, the universe, the number 42, whatever you call it, it is beckoning you to play your part in that journey. On the individual level, by developing spiritual practices so that when hard moments arise, you will have the deep well of yourself to draw on to show up to that moment and imagine a new, kinder, gentler, better, more just future. In community, when these moments happen, if we've done the work and we've built the community, and let those honest, earnest relationships between us become the spiritual practice that make us able to respond to a hard moment in a new and healing way. Amen. We are winning in the long term for as long as we hold love in the center. Amen. And now for our, nope, that's you.
We take an offering each week to sustain the spiritual home and to support the work of our fellowship. If you're visiting, we invite you to fill out a visitor's card, which are in the seat back pockets. And you can put that in the plate or take it back to the table in the back. For our offertory music today, we have Mark Vai playing Goodbye Blue Sky by Pink Floyd.
That's right, Pink Floyd. Can you imagine?
Sometimes we're called to add our voice to the chorus. Sometimes we're called to speak aloud, a message resonating in our hearts. If you are called to reflect or express gratitude, please raise your hand for the microphone.
Hi, I'm Sarah Smith. I guess you could consider this a pre-flexion. I wanted to mention that when we were coming up with this service, it was because we haven't done a humor service in a very long time. It was a tradition before the pandemic, and then when we finally got the doors open again, we were going to have a humor service. We had the words "laugh out loud" on the sign. We were all set. And then Uvalde had a tragedy. And the emails started coming through. I was like, we got to get that off the sign right now. And I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. We, of course, have to do everything by committee, so we didn't know what to put up. So I just took the layers down. And later on, Keith came out and put prayers for Uvalde up on the sign. But we have not been able to put together a humor service since. So this service is part of this congregation healing from that trauma.
I'll say real briefly, I love the quote, the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. And I just like to say, I think it was John Stewart I heard once say, yeah, but somebody has to bend it. It takes people bending it. It doesn't just happen. And so I think along the lines of, what you're talking about and what you're alluding to, the sense of community, and it takes communities, I think, to do that. And I'm grateful for this one. So thank you very much. And thanks for the message.
Hi, I just want to take this moment to thank Woody Hibbard for meeting with me and my Stoic friend yesterday, and hopefully there'll be more about that. And the meeting wasn't just three men with arms crossed staring at each other, as you would imagine Stoics are. So hopefully we'll have something to talk about a little bit later on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you for sharing. Our second hymn is Voice Still and Small. It's number 391 in the gray hymnal. It's a short one, so we're going to sing it through twice. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able. All right, our announcements for this morning. Miss Beth Egbert, our neighbor across the street, has a free Henry Miller standing piano to any family who wants it bad enough to arrange transportation. I'll leave this card at the back. You can figure out how to get in touch with her if you're interested. Judy Hume is hosting a house concert on April 5th. Please sign up via email. Did I say enough? All right, good. Fantastic. Choir rehearsal starts today at 12:15. So, at 12:15, when they start practicing, if you are in this room, please be quiet. Otherwise, be out there or over there. Cool? Good. All right. What? Or join, yes. You can stay in the room loudly if you want to sing. Thank you. Excellent addendum. All right, move the monument. Please join us after the service at the social justice table, writing postcards to businesses on the square, Williamson County commissioners, and city council members to support moving the Confederate monument from our town square. On Saturday, April 5th at 2 p.m. at the State Capitol in Austin will be the Hands Off National Day of Action. It's a month, it's a march, etc. You can find details online. Mr. Mel, will you lead us in the affirmation?
As we prepare to return to the world, we remind ourselves through affirmation to carry our work from this place to every corner of our lives. Please join me in the call and response. Love is the doctrine of this church.
We are here to love.
The quest of truth is its sacrament.
We are here to learn.
Service is its prayer.
We are here to care for others.
To dwell together in peace.
We are here to live in peace.
To seek knowledge and freedom.
We are here to honor our differences.
To serve humanity in fellowship.
We are all connected in spirit.
To the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine.
We are here to grow.
Thus do we covenant with one another.
This we promise to do together.
Please join me in reciting the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center.
When all else is cold ashes, love remains. Go in love. Go in joy with laughter on your lips. Go in grief with a tear in your eye. Whatever life brings you before we meet again, may you experience all of it.